Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to make improvements to our combat system. So the first thing we are going to do is make improvements to toggle combat. So let's go to combat system blueprints and notifies. And let's open up the toggle combat AN. And instead of doing this, and from here, let's get component by class. The component that we want to get is the combat component. Okay, now we want to check, is combat enabled? Okay, and then we need to set combat enabled. Let's delete this interface function. Okay, and we need to get is combat enabled, not boolean. Okay. You can also check if this is valid if you want to, just in case. Okay, compile and save. Okay, now let's go to blueprints, AI. Let's go to master AI, delete the toggle combat, and we can add from combat component on combat toggles. Then we don't even need to run this here. Okay, and now just go to the mob enemy. Okay, and we can leave that here. That should be fine. And I think boss enemy is the same. Yes. Okay. Now let's go to blueprints, combat player character. Let's go ahead and delete toggle combat from here as well. Then we can go to blueprints, actors, base weapon. Okay, and now let's go to unequipped. And let's get the combat component. And let's bind event to on combat toggle. Then we can create an event and we can select we can call the toggle weapon combat function. Okay, now that you've done this, it is very important that you remove this, because if you don't remove this, it will create an infinite loop, which means it will bind the event. So whenever you set toggle combat to true, it will run this event, and this event will then set it to true again, and it will just infinitely loop through these. So I just want to delete that and only do this. Okay, compile and save. And now we can go to our interface, blueprint, interfaces, combat BPI, and we can delete toggle combat now. And another improvement that we can make is we can remove these functions from the player, like perform action, perform attack, and perform dodge, because we can just use the interface functions instead. So there's no need to have two versions of these functions. So let's go ahead and copy all of this. Cut. Let's perform combat attack. Okay, but something else that we need to return here is a boolean. We need to know if it was a success. Same thing for perform combat attack. Okay, now we can create local variable and we can get attack type. Okay, and now we need to get attack index. And we need to get a random index. Okay, and create a local variable for attack montage. Get attack index again. Here we will return false. Okay, we need to get attack type. Okay, and here we need to return true. So we need to return the action length, L underscore attack duration. Okay. And then success will be true here. Okay. Okay, compile and save. Now we can delete perform attack. Yes, I want to delete this. Okay, and perform dodge on, let's see. I'm actually not seeing anything specific to dodge here. There's really no reason that we need a perform dodge function, so we can just delete that. Okay, now let's copy the perform action, and we can go ahead and paste that in combat actions, perform combat action. Okay, now create local variable, and we need to get the get montage index. Okay, now we need to get the action tag. Then we need to get random index. And we need to promote this to a local variable. We need to get state, the state tag. Then we need to get the action tag. Okay. And now we need to return the action duration and true. Okay, and something else that we can do as well that I'm seeing here that says new character action. This actually needs to be new action. And character action begin. This will be on action begin, because this is no longer a character state manager. Action end. This is current character action. We can just change this to be current action. Okay, now let's get new action. Okay, there we go. Now, let's go ahead and fix these errors. Perform combat attack. Okay, this is charged attack. Okay. Now let's go to perform dodge. We just need to call perform action. We actually need to delete perform action as well. Okay. So instead of perform dodge, we can call perform combat action, and the action tag will be dodge. And the state tag will be dodging. And if you want a dedicated function to perform dodge, you can add one, but I simply just don't need one. That's fine. Okay, these are no longer working. Actually, don't even need these anyway. I didn't have anything added to them. So there we go. Okay, and here's a few functions that we also no longer need. Okay, now let's go back to our combat BPI, and we don't have to, we can remove perform combat action and perform combat attack. There we go. I'm gonna go to the master AI, and we should have a few errors here. Yes. So we just need to update this. And for this one, and let's test that out. Okay, everything's good. Okay, now another improvement that we can make is, let's go to our combat player character. So it looks like we check if combat is enabled before we allow toggle lock on. Let's just remove that. Okay, and now whenever we try to toggle lock on, he just locks on like normal, and you pull your weapon out, and he rotates to face the enemy. So I think that's a lot better. Okay, now let's improve our stat bar. So let's go to Combat System, UI, Stat Bar, and actually let's improve the Health stat bar. So this one we have a Boolean use stats component. So what we are going to do here is we're just going to, let's just delete this Boolean. I don't think it'll be necessary. And what we're going to do is let's just get stats component and let's check, is it valid? Is valid. If it is valid, then we don't need to do anything. So we can just skip this. If it is not valid, then we need to set the stats component. Okay, here we go. So it is exposed on spawn. So if it's set on spawn already, it will just continue. If we don't set it on spawn, it will just get it from the owning player. We can also do that to this stat bar as well. So let's go to graph. Let's make the stats component instance editable and expose on spawn. And we can check, is the stats component valid? If it is valid, then we can just continue like normal. If it is not valid, then we need to set it. Okay, compile and save. Okay, now let's create a custom event. Initialize. Okay, and initialize is going to set the stats component, and it is going to do the same thing here. So we can just plug that in like that. Okay, now let's see if everything still works. So the player's stat bars work, and the enemy, yes, and the enemy stat bar works. Okay, now I'm going to fix a camera glitch bug. So as you can see, whenever I go up to here and I move my camera around, the camera is glitching around. So in order to fix that, let's go to Edit, Project Settings. Okay, and let's go to Collision. And here we need to go to Pawn. We need to edit Pawn. We need to set the camera to ignore. And for character mesh, we also need to set the camera to ignore. Okay, let's try that out and see if that fixed the issue. Okay, yep, the issue is now fixed. Okay, and now there's another issue that we have, is where whenever you have two AIs that are close to each other, so let me get this AI and aggro them both, they can hit each other. So as you can see, that AI can hit that AI. So in order to fix that, what we need to do is go to our master AI. Let's select the master AI weapon collision. Now, do we have classes to ignore? It looks like we don't. So let's go ahead and add that to our collision component. Event graph. Okay, I guess we could make this into a function and hit actor. Let's make that pure. Okay, let's open it up. And make this one in actor. So that one, let's do an and boolean. Let's create another variable. Let's make this a single variable, and let's make it a tag container. Tag, how about gameplay tags to ignore? And so what we need to do is from an actor get own gameplay tags, and we need to get the one from our gameplay tag asset interface. Okay. Has any tags. Has any tags. For this, yeah, we could make that an exact match, and then we'll add not boolean. Okay. Now, we can only continue if the hit actor does not have any of these tags. And so let's go to the master AI. And do we have gameplay tags implemented in here? I don't think that we do. So let's add gameplay tag container. Call it owned gameplay tags. Do we have, I don't think we even have the interface added here. So let's go ahead and add it. Gameplay tag blueprint interface and has matching gameplay tag. Let's put this in a category of gameplay tags. Okay. Let's tag to check. And for get owned gameplay tags, just return this. Okay, compile and save. Okay, and now select our owned gameplay tags. Let's add, so I have character.player. Let's add character.enemy. Okay. Okay, now let's select the collision component and gameplay tags to ignore enemy. Okay, there we go. Compile and save, and let's see if that works. Let's get them close to each other. Okay, I believe that worked. Yeah, they can no longer hit each other. Okay, now there's another issue that I saw here earlier. Okay, right here. So we can go ahead and refresh nodes to fix that. Compile and save. Okay, so another issue that we have is, let's go to the master AI, and let's go to the perform attack. This return value, the duration, doesn't actually take the play rate into account. So let's say you have an animation that lasts a certain amount of time. Well, if you increase the play rate and the animation is quicker, then this value won't take that into account. So we need something that's going to take that into account. We can just get the mesh, get instance, and a function that we can use for that is called montage play. Okay, and so plug this montage in here, and instead of montage length, we want duration. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now let's do the same thing with perform action. We can do the same thing in the player character as well. So don't forget to plug in the local action montage here as well. Okay, let's test it out and see if it works. Okay, works pretty well. Okay, and another thing that we can do to improve is, let's improve the follow distance for chasing. Let's make that 400. Let's do that also for the mob. Okay. Okay, now let's make an improvement to Ragdoll. So, okay, so here in the master AI, let's find our physics velocity here. Okay, perform depth, physics velocity, and let's add a selector node. Select float, and let's get front. So if hit front is true, it's going to pick 2000. If it is false, then we're going to pick minus 2000. Okay, and let's do the same thing here in the player character. Go to the player character and go to the same place. So that way, whenever they die, they're going to ragdoll. It's going to change depending on if we are in front or behind the character. Let's test that out. Okay, yep, that looks a lot better. Okay, so it looks like the HUD doesn't ever go away whenever the AI dies. For some reason, let's go to Master AI. Okay, so what we can do, I guess, in this case is, let's just do a check. Let's get the state manager component. Let's check is state equal to any. Check dead. Let's get an and boolean. And we have a not boolean here. So if the AI is not dead and we have set it to visible. Okay, yep, it goes away. Now let's add some rotation so that we can rotate towards the enemy when attacking. So let's first do that for the player character. Okay, and so the way we are going to do this is let's create a custom event. And let's rotate to target. Let's add a timeline. Rotate, target, timeline. Okay, we're going to play from start. And let's get our targeting component. Let's get target actor. We need to check, is target actor valid? The target actor is valid. Put that into update. If target actor is valid, then we do something similar to what we have here in the targeting component. So go ahead and open that up. And let's open update targeting control rotation. And we're going to do something pretty similar to what we have here. So let's just go ahead and copy all of that. Okay, and we actually don't want to set control rotation. We want to set actor rotation. And plug that in here. Okay, and now we want to remove owner controller, and we want to remove get owner, and we want to replace it. This one with get actor. We don't need this subtract here, so we can go ahead and delete that. Okay, the interrupt speed, you can make that something like 9. Okay, and so for this one in particular, we only want the yaw, so let's do that. Now let's go to perform attack, and let's add right here, rotate to target. Now let's see if that works. I'll rotate away and I'll start attacking. He will rotate to face the enemy. But as you can see, the rotation lasts for a while. Let's open up the timeline. It seems like we forgot to adjust this. Let's add a float track. Let's make this only run for a certain amount of time. Perhaps we'll go from 0, 0 to time is going to be 0.25, value 1. Okay. But it seems like, yeah, we're still rotating towards the enemy for a little while. We're actually going to utilize the state manager in order to fix this. The state manager is a perfect way to fix this. So let's create a custom event. Stop rotating the target. This will be stop. And we will plug this into stop. Now let's go to, let's see if we have this added on state begin. Okay, so we actually need to add this on state end. So let's add a switch statement. Let's add attacking. And we do not need the default pin for either of these actually. When the attack state ends, let's stop rotating to target. And if we want, we can actually rotate to target here. We can actually delete that from perform attack because we run that with the state manager. Okay, compile and save, and let's see if that works. Okay, and that works just fine. So I can attack and then just roll away. Okay, now let's implement the same functionality into the AI. So just copy all of this. Let's go to the master AI. Let's add that here. Okay. The AI doesn't have a reference to the target. So in order to get a reference to the target, I guess what we could do is, let's promote that to a variable, target actor, and also replace that here, target actor. Okay. And on state end, switch attacking. Okay, and on state begin attacking, rotate to target, and stop rotating to target. Rotate to target. Online. Another thing that we can do also if we don't want to keep setting actions is, let's go to our behavior tree, and I don't think we have perform action. This print string, we need to remove that while we're here. And let's browse the asset, and let's open up perform action. Up state tag, we can make that by default general action state. Okay, compile and save. And also we can go to the interface, blueprints, interfaces, combat BPI, and for perform action, we can make the default state general action state. So that way he's always going to be entering a state. So no matter what the AI does, it's going to end the attacking state. Okay, now we have to set the target actor. So let's actually close everything out. Don't need all that stuff open. Let's go blueprints, AI controller. And here in set target actor, okay, we have an on target set function. So let's go to master AI. Let's find our on target set function right here, and we can just update target in here. Okay, compile and save. Now let's see if that works. Yes, that does work. The snapping is a little bit too much, so let's shorten this. The length, we do not want the length to be here. Let's set the length to 0.25. Okay, now let's see if that's a little better. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. So the last thing that we are going to implement is invulnerability frames. So basically, during this amount of time, the character cannot be damaged. So let's go to blueprints, anim notifies, and let's create a new anim notify. This will be a notify state. Okay, we'll call it iframes ANS. Let's override receive notify begin, and we are going to need to create an interface function for this. Let's go to interfaces, combat BPI, set iframes. Be enable iframes. Okay. Okay, now let's get owner, and let's set iframes. Okay, we'll enable it on begin, and on end we will disable it. Okay, compile and save. Now let's go into here and check can receive damage. And we need to check, first let's add event set iframes. Let's promote that to a variable. Iframes enabled. And we'll check is iframes enabled, not Boolean. Let's do the same thing for the player character. Let's add event iframes, promote to variable, iframes enabled, and we need to make that private. Now let's go to can receive damage. And we need to check iframes enabled, not Boolean. And okay, let's also go to master AI and let's make this private here as well. Compile and save. Okay. Okay, now we just need to add this animation notify to the rolling animation. So let me go ahead and add a notify track and let's iframes. Let's make that last through, just for testing purposes, throughout the entire duration of the animation. So throughout the entire duration of the dodge animation, we cannot be damaged. We can be damaged normally, but if we dodge, we cannot be damaged. So you can see like the basic implementation there. But you actually wouldn't want your iframes to be that much because that would make your game pretty unbalanced. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce that by a lot. And go ahead and save. And now save all. Okay, that brings us to the end of this video. In this video, we have improved toggle combat, improved stat bar, fixed a few bugs such as the camera bug, and made it so that the AI cannot hit each other. We have made improvements to ragdoll, implemented attack rotation, and iframes. Thanks for finishing this section. In the next section, we are going to use free art assets such as visual effects, sound effects, and character models to create an RPG prototype.